the Indiana Fever, they have fired everybody. Everybody. Their president, their general manager, and now their head coach, Christy Sides, gets bounced after just 2 seasons. This year, she gets Caitlin Clark, leads them to the playoffs. They exit the playoffs after 2 games. It's not much of a playoff run. Fever, just a nonchalant little, hey, we've parted ways with head coach Christy Sides. This was kind of telegraphed, though, because there had been a report that came out earlier that Stephanie White, I think she was the head coach of some WNBA team, and she was leaving and had 3 candidates of destinations on her list, and the Indiana Fever were one of them. That came out last week, so no surprise it was telegraphed that the Fever were going to move on from Christy Sides. But it just seems interesting, and I don't know, because I'm someone, by the end of the year, I was good with Christy Sides. Early in the year, I was anti-Christy Sides. I wanted her gone. I thought she was in over her head. By the end of the year, I had kind of warmed up to her and was good and didn't think she needed to be fired. Clearly, the Fever have thought otherwise, and clearly something's going on in the WNBA. I think half their coaches have been fired.
Mm-hmm.
And so the WNBA is recognizing they're at an inflection point, and they're trying to level up, it seems like, with all of their staff, and it certainly seems to be going on with the Indiana Fever, that, hey, they got a great opportunity to level up here in terms of president, general manager, and head coach, and they're taking that opportunity. It's what the WNBA needs to do. This head coaching decision, I think, is critical. If they go after Lisa Bluter, the Iowa coach, who retired just 2-3 months ago or 4 months ago after this past season, and she went to a lot of Indiana Fever games. This is Caitlin Clark's longtime college basketball coach. Love to see the Indiana Fever hire her. Would be good if they hired this Stephanie White, because she's had some success. She's worked for the Fever before. She's a former player. I think maybe she played at Purdue or IU. At one point, she was involved with the Fever organization. I do think both of these women have better resumes than Christy Sides, and I'm just going to keep it 1,000% real why I want Lisa Bluter. Caitlin Clark, and I don't know anything about Christy Sides. I really don't, other than what I saw. I don't know anything about her personal life. But I do know Lisa Bluter is married. And I do know that the Indiana Fever, in order to max out Caitlin Clark, they need a more traditional family-type structure atmosphere in Indiana. Did you know that 17 Christians are killed for their faith every day in Nigeria? Join us and make a difference to help save lives. Visit equippingthepersecuted.org now to start your monthly donation, which will help create sustainable hope and take action to help protect an orphan or care for a widow. When I look at Christy Sides getting fired and I look at the organization running out their leadership, it screams to me, Nylisa Smith, the power forward that played for them, that has this ongoing relationship with Dejanay Carrington, seems like she was a problem all year. And that Christy Sides and the organization couldn't get their arms around it, couldn't fix that problem. Caitlin Clark, if you go look at that Iowa atmosphere that brought out the best in her in college basketball, it was an atmosphere that was very supportive of heterosexual female athletes. I'm not saying it wasn't hostile towards the other side, but that was a feminine, heterosexual atmosphere they had going on in Iowa, and that's the environment Caitlin Clark needs to excel at the highest level in the WNBA as a professional. She's not homophobic. I'm not trying to be homophobic here, although I probably am homophobic. I'm not trying to be in this instance. I'm just telling you, you got to have an atmosphere that matches your best player. It's no different than what I said about Larry Bird and the Boston Celtics years ago. It's what I said about Bill Russell and the Boston Celtics even longer ago. When Red Auerbach was running the Celtics organization and they got Bill Russell, a generational, once-in-a-lifetime talent, they built that entire organization around Bill Russell, and they ran a lineup out there in the 50s and 60s, all-black starting lineup, first in NBA history, a really black roster to match Bill Russell and get him comfortable. And when they had Larry Bird, what did they do? They put a bunch of white guys that Larry Bird could drink beer around him, build an atmosphere that got the best out of him. That's what you do in basketball. That's what you do when you have a generational talent. You put them in the environment they're most comfortable with. You've heard me say, take Erica Wheeler, who I believe is alternative lifestyle. I love her. She's one of my favorite players on the Indiana Fever. She has Caitlin Clark's back. This isn't about running out all the alternative lifestyle people, but it is about establishing an organization that's in support of the lifestyle and the environment that brings out the best in Caitlin Clark. That's why I want Lisa Bluder. That's what the other candidate, I'm sure they've already probably made their decisions since they fired Christy Sides, but the other person I would love to see coach that team is Kim Mulkey. Would love to see Kim Mulkey. Again, you'd have to pay Kim Mulkey a fortune. She probably makes $3-4 million a year at LSU. I don't know if the WNBA is ready to do that, but you bring Kim Mulkey and her personality to the WNBA, to Indiana. Now you really got magical TV there. Again, Lisa Bluder would be my first choice. She's familiar with Caitlin Clark, understands Caitlin Clark's personality, how to calm her down, all of that. But anyway, those are my thoughts on Christy Sides getting fired. I'm not overjoyed with it, but if they get the right hire, I will be overjoyed. It's what they're doing potentially is recognizing, like, hey, man, with this collective bargaining agreement coming up, with all the upheaval, this unrivaled league trying to bait people into playing 3-on-3 basketball, and potentially we want Caitlin Clark very comfortable in the WNBA. Let's put people around her that help bring out the best in her and create an environment. We know how hostile the WNBA can be to heterosexual players. They're not going to have that in Indiana, I hope, with this new leadership team that they're putting around Caitlin Clark. If you enjoyed that video, be sure to hit the like button and subscribe so you never miss a moment of Fearless.